Hello. I've had some people ask me to, upload a video of me essentially coaching where I'm just critiquing someone who's playing the game. And this person volunteered for that. So we're going to go through their gameplay and just talk about some of the things that I've mentioned. I'm actually just going to run this through like a commentary that I normally do for my own Mythic Plus. Except this is, a 3 IO Mage player. They're in like top 100 guild in the world. So they're pretty good at the game. There's not too crazy much for us to talk about. Hopefully they show their talent somewhere. They're trying like the standard setup. I think Twitch like just skips most of it. Oh, there it is. There you go. This is just the standard setup. This is why I recommend as your general build anyway. You can find that on like my last 3 Frost videos. It's the build I used. Great general build. Also, like, definitely the best build for core stars, so that's good. All right, let's get into this. So the main problem here is their orb, you can see, is right here, and the mobs are over there. This is a lot of the reason why I stand closer to the mobs, because you can force your blizzard to go into the middle of them, as opposed to it being off center. Because when you're standing this far away, what your frozen orb is going to do is it's going to stop traveling once it hits the first enemy, and not keep traveling into the pack of mobs. Frozen orb actually has a minimum distance it has to travel. So if you're standing closer to the mobs, you can just force it to be in the middle of the pack. But yeah. And so they're going to have the same problem, because you can see like their second frozen orb is right here, because that's where the mana sabers were when they threw it. So the second frozen orb is getting no value either. And then here, they just walked out the Rune of Power and they just aren't recasting it here. And then this is also a good time for them to have Shifting Powered or so, as it's Fort Spiteful week, so. Anytime they're frostbolting here, that's a shifting power moment. Shifting power is technically higher priority in AoE than as a filler than like frostbolt and flurry and ice nova. So they really wanted to be getting that cooldown. They should unpowered ice lance, but that's okay. Just gotta be a little wary of it. So you're shifting power here. This is fine. You overcap CDR on Rune Power and Frozen Orb though. Here they decide to hold the Rune of Power because their Icy Veins is about 18 seconds away. It was only it was 20 seconds away when they started this pull. I would have Rune of Powered, because what's gonna happen, you'll see, is they hold their Rune. Their Icy Veins is gonna come up now, so they got they don't have a timer anywhere, but they were waiting like 7-8 seconds before runing, and now they'll just be delaying it. And then they're not casting it here either. So they've now been holding on to it for like 18 seconds, 20 seconds. Yeah. This is good though. They're casting, Blizzard Orb on CD, using their Fierce Frost procs and whatnot. The main problem I've seen from this person is you'll see they just frostbolted and they're just not flurrying. So it's causing them to overcap the natural recharge of their flurry. It's not also, by the way, they should shifting power right here. They're staying on it again while frostbolting. If you were to shifting power here, you would get another rune and another orb on these two mobs when you have a while to travel until your next pull. So here, even if you just wanted to just send rune, you still should have, because these things have definitely lived for 12 seconds, and even if they didn't, you have the spiteful to hit after them. So and then here, they used Ice Veins there actually. Just double check. You used your Fierce Frost not overcap here, yes? Let's see. Okay, yep, they're good. They are prioritizing Ice Nova too much at lower target counts. Given how low this is, you should have been prioritizing using your flurries. And then here, you would have wanted to Rune of Power, because now you're just going to sit on your Rune, you're going to sit on your Frozen Orb, and you're sitting on your Shifting Power, which is not good. So here, again, really good Rune timings, and they use it now, but, you know, comparatively a bit late. They are stealing the fortifications, which is really good. It's 25% haste, so also it makes them take less damage from you, so you don't really want it to stay on them. This would be a really good time shifting power, and they used it, so good job. And then again, well, they died here, but that would have been a good time to Rune. They probably were going to, though. Okay, I think the Icy Veins timing just caused them to overcap on Fingers Frost. Let's see. Yep, that did. So what happened there was this is when they decide to Icy Veins right here, okay? And the problem with Icy Veins right here is that your Icy Vein, well, for one, this is 2 targets, so I would have opened with the Flurry to not overcap your Flurry with Brain Freeze from Snap Freeze, but they also overcap their Fingers of Frost with Snap Freeze. Snap Freeze being the talent that gives you Fingers of Frost and Brain Freeze when you use Icy Veins, because they're going to Icy Veins right here, and they're about to get a tick of Freezing Winds to give them another Fingers of Frost in 0.5 seconds. So what's going to happen is they just used Icy Veins and just overcapped on Fingers of Frost. Also, they did just use a Flurry when they had Fingers of Frost as well, and they just overcapped on Fingers of Frost by spell stealing the guard, I'm pretty sure. They had some GCD action, not sure what it was. Yeah, spell stealing the guard, probably. Good shifting power time here. So instead of Frostbolt, that's shifting power, but it's a bit late, but like, you know, you can see they're losing some value on each frozen. They just overkept Fingers of Frost casting Rune of Power. Technically, that is what you're supposed to do. But in that specific situation, you probably wouldn't want to. On 2 target, if you know you just cast 1 Ice Lance and then go into your Rune of Power, it's you'd want to use your Fingers of Frost first. They just don't have Powered Ice Lance, so that's pretty sure. And here they're not playing Energized Barriers, so every time the lockdown comes out, they have to jump quite a bit, which is okay because they're playing Ice Flows, but still not ideal. So here, yep, that's good. You'd want to be looking for some time to shifting power. It's ideal to hit the boss, but if you can't, you know, that's okay. I mean, it's not okay. You know, never aim to not hit the boss, but I think that was an Paradise Lance again. Here you can see they're doing that thing again where they're gambling. Always what it does. So right here, they're going to cast Ice Lance and then just overcap some of the natural recharge of Flurry. At that point, it was less egregious because it was only like 3 seconds, but you know, over a key, something like that could add up. It's not too important here though. This is really good. They channeled Shifting Power when the boss had Winter's Chill on him. That's technically a small damage increase. You don't need to worry too much about it though. Let me double check this thing's quality. Okay, that's fine. Here, that's okay. So I would have used the orb when you had Fear's Frost there. Or you're going to save it because you're going to run, but you're going to run quite a bit. So I think you could have gotten some decent value out of this orb, especially if you're, you know, looking to pad the overall a little bit on this guy. Though it looks like this was a pug, so you didn't realize that they were going back. So that's fine. Okay, looks like someone accidentally pulled these. I would have used Rune here, but you might be wiping, so doesn't look like it then, yeah. So probably should use Rune. Can't really blame you for this one though. And then here, this is why I like to recommend doing the Frostbolt or the Blizzard into Frozen Orb, because now your Frozen Orb's also just not hitting half these mobs. And then just double check if you overcapped on Fears of Frost doing that though. That is kind of like YouTube VODs over Twitch VODs, because Twitch VODs skip back like 15 seconds. Yeah, your ICV's timing had you overcapped on Fears of Frost, and you overcapped on Fears of Frost right there. You did it again here, so yep. Less than ideal, but I mean, on this target count, it's not that crazy. You did just double flurry though. I'm not sure if that was into the same target or if you just did it to 2 different targets, but it's not worth to do. So, because then you're casting Frostbolt, and that Frostbolt is a good time to Shifting Power. So, anytime you Frostbolt really is. Then you kind of sat on Blizzard a little bit there, but your pool kind of got a little fucked, so can't blame you. I believe that was Paradise Silence. Let's see. Nope, you're good. Still a good Shifting Power moment. That was on, those 2 were on Paradise Lances though. I saw that. And then you're channeling this when your orb was already off CD, so not very much value out of the Shifting Power there. I wouldn't really be like sending flurries into dying enemies like that. Your flurry, like right here, would have been really high value to have flurry. Instead, you're pressing Frostbolt. That's because you send it into a mob with like 0.5% HP on the pass pull. So they're not really something you can easily waste, I suppose I should say. This was good though. That you are seeing on Rune here for a little bit. That's good. You are tanking at the moment, but this would be a good shifting power moment. Honestly, this late in the pool, probably not. But given this one just started, yes, it would have been good. And then here, you're still casting Frost Bolts and prioritizing your Fierce Frost over it. And you're just losing potentially some flurry charges. So like right there, you did it again. But here, nope, you did correctly there. That's good. Though ideally you would have reacted to those Fingers of Frost. That's kind of just the part of playing Frost. Though those are coming from your, here's a good shifting power moment, by the way. So do you kind of do nothing while you're locked? Part of the problem with playing Frost, maybe not problem, but part of what you want to do. Here, you Frost bolted, prioritize Fingers of Frost, Frost bolted, prioritize Fingers of Frost again. Without Frozen Touch, I don't think it's as big of a deal, but you can see on the third one, you weren't lucky, unlike the prior two. So here, you did it, and then here, you overcapped, and you lost 9 seconds of flurry recharge doing that. So, again, maybe not that crazy big of a deal, specifically in this situation. However, you'd have another flurry charge right here, for instance, but those are like bad habits to build up for, say, an extended raid fight or an extended fight in general. Or just when you get poor RNG and get a fuck ton of brain freeze procs back to back. Okay, you overcapped. So similar to what you did earlier, you overcapped on Fierce Frost doing this as well. So again, this is why I like to do Blizzard into Frozen Orb, because what you did was Blizzard, then Frozen Orb, then Icy Veins. You're gonna press Icy Veins here, and again, you're gonna overcap your Fierce Frost from Freezing Winds. This was fine because your Blizzard was still out before you Icy Veins. So you still get the benefit of that haste bug where if your Blizzard's already active, gaining haste increases the amount of ticks it does, which you're going to benefit from here, but you are going to overcap on your Fingers of Frost. Less than ideal. Particularly on a 3-target pull, because what would have happened is it would have prevented you from doing that flurry right there where you didn't react to your Fingers of Frost. Even here, what you're going to do right here is you're going to flurry. You have 0.4 seconds, or less than 0.4 seconds before your next Fingers of Frost tick is guaranteed from Freezing Winds. So you should have pressed Ice Lance either way here. If you hadn't overcapped on your Icy Veins Fingers of Frost, you would have still had your Fingers of Frost from one of them from earlier in the orb, so you would have Fingers Frosted here anyway, which would have led into your next one from the Freezing Winds tick, and then you wouldn't have wasted this flurry, but instead you flurried. So you got to keep a little bit closer look at this. You're sitting on Rune here. You also just flurried with a Fingers of Frost charge, but you're lining this stuff, so can't blame you. When you're lining is a really good time to use shifting power. Also, I already talked to you about this on Discord, but I really hate your Rune of Power Weakwear. It's Afnar's, and it just like keeps its aura even after it's gone for like 2 seconds, and it doesn't show you its cooldown. So casting Frostbolt just overcapped you on Fingers Frost there, by the way. Yeah, and then casting Blizzard overcapped you again, pretty sure. Here would be good time to Rune. Because this thing has quite a bit of time left, and you'll have a lot of times where you're going to be dipping back out, like behind cover, where you can just shifting power when it's not costing you any uptime. Like here, good shifting power time. Not really though, because your orb's off cooldown, but you know, if this was like 12 seconds earlier, good. Though you're not going to use your orb, so really using shifting power here might not have been too valuable. It's really going to depend on when the next pull is, on if it would have given you like another rune earlier in the fight or another flurry. So here you're fine. Like the fact that you're in shifting power doesn't matter too much because your rune's going to be up when your Icy Veins rune ends. So, and you have 2 flurry charges here anyway. So that's a point where shifting power would have been kind of useless, but yeah, you missed a frozen ice lance on that rune. Careful, I mean, you just, you know, when you just flurried without precast, but yeah, you kind of got murdered by that. This would be, of course, a really, really good shifting power moment, but you end up doing it, so that's good. And you'd want a rune. I'm not sure if you're holding rune for your orb. We don't really do that, so. In this situation, it's actually probably fine to hold your rune for your orb, just because the target's barely going to live more than your full rune duration, and yeah, pretty much that. And it was so close, you know, it was like 6 seconds or something. Generally, not something I recommend doing though, because it will lose you uses of rune. It's kind of late at night, hard for me to talk. So, because of when you Icy Veins tier, it would have been good to do it earlier. So you're gonna Ice Lance, and you're gonna Ice Lance now. Right here, this is your second Ice Lance traveling to the boss. This is when you should Icy Veins. If you don't know, all frost spells are calculated on hit. So if you Icy Veins right here, this Ice Lance would have gained the benefit of Rune of Power, and you would have still kept your Fingers of Frost. And not proc munch this Winter's Chill, which is, you know, what you were trying to avoid here. You just didn't get the Rune of Power buff on your Ice Lance. Technically, this might not really be that much of a buff to not proc munch this Ice Lance, because your icicles are calculated on cast. So when they get sent, they just won't benefit from the Rune of Power, even though your Ice Lance will. That was a really good reaction to your Fingers of Frost, though. This is a Rune of Power moment. So you missed 2 guaranteed frozen Ice Lances there because you didn't do it before your Ice Lances from Flurry. This is a good shifting power moment instead of Frostbolt, because you'll get a guaranteed another Rune of Power from this fight. Instead, you're just staying on it. So, considering he's doing the Imps with, this also would have been a good shifting power fight just to quickly get your rune up with your orb here. Instead, you're doing, you know, a non-buffed orb until the very end of this, in which case you might not use orb at all, or rune at all. Yeah, I mean, you gain very little rune value compared to what you would have done if you just shifting powered when the imps came. This is just what pugging is, where, you know, the initial shifting power would have been really good for you. The fact that he pulled imps after made the second shifting power be even a better option, and then you just never used it, so it was just like a worse option for what you did. But need to rune here. And yeah. So staying on this rune is pretty bad because you're using quite a lot of frozen ice lances. I mean, that's at least 4 right here, not counting the ones you did before you orbed. So That was on Powered Ice Lance. All right, this is really good. You're actually your Ice Veins and your Orb, you're gonna save for ads, which is fine. I would have Icy Veins earlier anyway. I mean, yours is fine, but it's just you already have a second rune anyway, so having to hold it for the ads wasn't necessary. You also did walk out your rune to clear Thundering pretty early. At this point, you're getting a lot of value from your orb, your rune on ads, but you're not really getting much value from your rune on the boss. Also, I'm not entirely sure how the Centaur trinket works, but I'm pretty sure you have to be hitting the main target. Maybe not, because you swapped to the imps there, which would have made it get a lot less value. Given how much your DPS spiked, though, I'm gonna guess it probably works off any of them. You can see your orb went a little far. That's because of orb's minimum duration. You should have shot it to the left here. Or minimum travel distance, I say. Here you start Frostbolt when you have a flurry, and then you use the Fingers of Frost. Okay. Yeah, that was you kind of gambling again. So here you started Frostbolt when you had a flurry, you used Ice Lance, and then you overcapped on your flurry's natural recharge. You Frostbolted without, or you flurried without Frostbolting before. You flurried again when you had Fingers of Frost already, and then you Frozen Orbed when you already had Winter's Chill, which normally isn't that big of a deal, but it's honestly not something you should consider either. So never mind. Forget I mentioned the Frozen Orb when Winter's Chill happened. But in this case, you would have not wanted to Frozen Orb with Winter's Chill, given you're not going to get another Blizzard in the encounter. This probably would have been a shifting power moment to get another Orb out. And then, yep, it's good. All right, then we will. Oh, they pulled another pack. Okay. You overcapped on Fingers of Frost there for some reason. Because you're not in Icy Veins now, and pressing Blizzard just overcaps you on Fingers of Frost. Ideally, that would not happen, given this is two targets and they have high value. You do have Rune of Power up, so that's good. But yeah, in a situation like this, I don't know if I really would prioritize Blizzard as highly as you are, because I'm not sure if you'll even get like another full use of Rune or of Orb. Does look like you will, so that's good. I guess it's spiteful too, so yeah, that makes sense. All right, I'm just gonna skip this part. Not really sure what you're holding Orb for here. Kind of held it for a while. And now you're not runing, so you just did quite a few Frozen Ice Lances without being in Rune. Again, that was a gamble on if your Flurry would have procced Brain Freeze and wasted the natural recharge. You're Frostbolting when you should be shifting powering. And then you're consistently kind of ignoring the Frostbolt precast here. Your Mirror Image caused you to overcap on Fingers Frost there as well. So could have been placed a little bit better. Yeah, and you use Blizzard as a precast here, flurry there instead of your Frostbolt. So now you're just Frostbolting after you flurried, and it's just Frostbolts that don't have the increased crit value that your one if you just precasted it would have. You also overcapped on Fierce Frost again there at the start. So you need to be wary of doing a GCD at the start of your Frozen Orb when you don't have Icy Veins here. You walked a little bit out of your rune, to be honest, but it's fine. This is good that you used your rune there, since now, you know, you're away for the Slicing Maelstrom. Here, yeah, I think you know what I'm going to say about shifting power. Shifting power is a pretty good thing to channel, like right here, since you can just shift, yeah, ice flows and then walk all the way there and back basically with it, if you needed to. I used Frostbolt into Winter's Chill, so. I don't blame you for holding Rune. Oh, that was too late of Rune usage. If you wanted to use Rune, it had to be here. And then you could just like step to the right or something. Instead, you're gonna actually end up delaying your Icy Veins because of it, which using Rune as close to Icy Veins that you did is not recommended. It's like here, you should have Icy Veins. It's taking you quite a while to Icy Veins, and you're just kind of saying, "No, it's cooldown." But you're also baiting, which is kind of stressful. So I don't blame you. And then another Rune here. Actually, never mind. I got baited by your weak aura. Yeah, that's 4 Frozen Ice Lances that you missed out on without doing your Rune. You could have placed it off center here. So instead of waiting until you're in the Slicing Maelstrom. And right now you're not in your Rune when it has 4 seconds duration left, which is fine since it's Slicing Maelstrom. So, but yeah, you could have eked out a little bit more time. And then, you know what I'm going to say again. It's shifting power time. So also, I'm pretty sure one of those was not Paradise Lens. And there you have it. That's the end of the key. I don't believe they end up showing the overall. They did pretty much equal damage to me on my tyrannical key, but this is a 24 fort spiteful key, so you'd expect more AoE. But yeah, that was kind of all that I had to talk about. To recap, most of it was not really using shifting power as often as you should be, as high priority as filler as it is. Not using Rune of Power often enough, like you were missing some casts of it, walking out with duration sometimes. You were overcapping on Fingers of Frost a decent bit. And then aside from that, you were gambling a little too much. You were frostbolting when you had Fingers of Frost and Flurry, and then not flurrying, and then that was causing you to overcap on your natural recharge of Flurry. So those were the main problems. Hopefully you guys, learned something. This isn't normally how I do coaching, so normally, I'm talking with the person while I do it, but this person just offered their M+ VOD, so thank you for that. And yeah, if you have any questions, leave them down below.